Hi, everybody. I am Tella. I am a spoken word artist in the Twin Cities, which is Minnesota. If you don't know what the Twin Cities are, I currently have a book of poems called Adjusting My Crown that talks about relationships, you know, unhealthy, toxic, and how to really grow out of that. I also have a production company called Tella Productions. So that's me being able to provide a platform for artists, whether it's rappers, singers, poets like myself, vendors, dancers. It's just a area of space for people of color, predominantly black people, to be able to come and share their talents and gifts. But while I'm on YouTube is I really wanted to be able to share my voice. One of the big things that I do is I host my own events and other people's events. So with that being said, with Corona and quarantine, I knew I needed an outlet outside of just my shows to be able to voice, especially a lot of the things that are going on. It was actually interesting when I first had this idea. I got it from my mentor, and he was telling me about people subscribing to my emails, and I was like, oh, okay, but I don't know how to get people to do that outside of using my voice, so that's why I'm here. When I first had the idea, I initially wanted to talk about myself and how I got to this point and how I'm moving forward, which eventually I will get there. However, right before we were about to record this, I had a recent sudden pass of my cousin, whose name is O'Shea Brown. She passed away from domestic violence, and that kind of I think for our whole family, it kind of shifted our motivation, because even though she was loved and she was cherished, something like that just makes you realize that there's more that you need to be doing in the world. And one of the biggest things of that situation is that type of violence is not uncommon for black women. I think especially in 2020, we're starting to see a lot of women not only experience trauma, but really speak about their trauma, whether that is domestic violence. I'm pretty sure that there's several women that can tell you that they've been either sexually abused, physically abused, emotionally abused, psychologically abused, spiritually abused by a man, and especially a black man or a black woman of somebody whom they trusted and cared for. So I really want to take this time to really shed light on the fact that us as a society, we have to protect black women, because there's this narrative that black women are just supposed to be strong. We're supposed to be the protector, the provider, the backbone. We're supposed to cook the meals. We're supposed to take care of the kids. And all of these different aspects are heavy for us to be carrying all the time. And a lot of times we can't really speak up for ourselves and tell the world that, enough is enough, or this is too much, or I need help, because of those narratives. Many women that I'm pretty sure I know, have experienced some type of abuse by a loved one, whether it's sexual abuse, physical abuse, neglect. It could be emotional, spiritual, psychological abuse. And sadly, most of these people are loved ones, but a lot of them, especially in the black community, are black men, whether it's fathers, it could be boyfriends, siblings. A lot of us have experienced some type of abuse, and we see it happening over and over, and the cycle continues to repeat itself. And not just with my cousin losing her life, but in every area. For example, I'm gonna make sure I say her name right, but Oluwatoyin Salu passed away after she had tweeted about her sexual assault. Hours after she tweeted about that, she was found missing. And then 3 days later, her body was found, and a black man killed her. And then we look at Rekia Crawford. She was literally in a car, and she was killed at a stoplight with her grandma while she was running errands. And then even bigger cases that we've seen are Breonna Taylor. She was killed in her house with her fiance after the police bum rushed in there wearing regular clothes, killing her, shooting him, and then putting him in jail. And then it doesn't help on top of the other countless acts that we do deal with all of these different forms of abuse. It just seems like black women are not safe. And then on top of that, another layer is that a lot of these stories are not told. There's a list that I'm going to share with you in a second about multiple women that have died from domestic abuse, killed by their lover. There's people who have been killed in a gunfight. There's stories that I'm going to share with you regarding women whose voices have not been heard. And some of them have been killed due to domestic abuse. Some have been killed due to police brutality. I'm going to share with you several women who have been killed due to domestic violence, killed by police, killed in a gang rivalry, killed as a bystander. Women are killed in so many different ways, and you don't hear about their stories. You don't hear about their names. Their names are swept under the rug. And don't get me wrong, I'm out here protesting for the lives of black men and brown people around the world. But that same energy should be for the black women who are getting killed. And I'm just going to read I'm going to read their names. And some of them you may recognize and some you may not. One, Sandra Bland. She was killed in police custody, which I'm pretty sure a lot of you have heard that. Rekia Boyd, killed by an off-duty police officer. Shelly Fry, killed by an off-duty sheriff. Natasha McKinnon, killed in police custody. Dominique Remy Fales was killed during a hate crime due to her being transgender. Raya Milton, killed during a robbery. She was also transgender. Michelle Cruix, killed by police during a mental health welfare check. Katherine Johnson was an elder, and she was killed by police when they entered her house without her knowing. Corinne Gaines was killed by police. Alberta Spiro had a heart attack during a police raid when she did not know that they were entering her home. Maya Hall was also killed by police. Ayanna Stanley Jones was a 7-year-old who was killed by police during a police raid. Miriam Carey was killed by police due to her making a U-turn and them thinking that she was a Secret Service member. Tanisha Anderson, killed by police. Destiny Harrison, killed in her own salon by the people in her neighborhood. Hadaya Pendleton, killed due to gang violence, and she was not the person they were targeting. Nia Wilson, a hate crime. A white man seen her on the train and killed her. Deborah Danny, killed by police during a mental health welfare check. Kayla Moore, killed by police. Cortland Arrington, killed during a school shooting. Monique Barg, killed in shooting after they were trying to go after her boyfriend, and she died in that. That one's a hard one because it really hits home. She was from Minnesota, and it wasn't just a shooting. They murdered her and tortured her, so that one hits a little bit different. Brittany White, killed due to domestic violence. Nicole Wallace, killed due to domestic violence. Aaliyah Terry, domestic violence. Atiana Jefferson, killed during a police welfare check. Gloria Rogue, killed in her own home. Somebody was shooting and thought that they were at the right house and killed her instead. Takaya Fulward, killed during a house party. Sahara Coggins, killed due to domestic violence. Janethia Robinson, killed in a drive-by shooting. Tanisha Stewart, killed due to domestic violence. Fansha Guzman, killed during gang rivalry and she was a bystander. Alteria Woods, killed and she was caught in a deputy shootout and her boyfriend used her as a shield. Alexis Crawford, killed by her roommate and her roommate's boyfriend. Reginae Gibbs, killed during robbery. India Kroger, killed by police. And those are just some of the names that I was able to find. And mind you, I searched and there's people that I couldn't even put on the list just because it was too many pictures, it was too many names, and it was overwhelming even for myself just to be hearing about these things because a lot of them were years and years old. You know, I think I try to keep them more recent, and I think the oldest one on here is probably like 2010. So that's just a handful of women who have been killed since 2010, and we're not talking about this. And we're being overlooked, and we're being undervalued, and we're being told that our voices are not as important as the black men that are being gunned down in the street when we're supposed to be fighting for equality together. This is supposed to be a fight that we do together, and we're still being swept underneath the rug. And it's crazy because the craziest part about it is black women only want to be seen. We want to be heard. We want to be loved. We want to be valued. We want to be equal. In every aspect, the black woman is the most disrespected person on this world. Why? Because white men, obviously, do not respect her. Even white women, if you want to bring it back to feminism, use black women as a way to come together or make it seem like we were coming together just to pretty much say, we're going to get equality and you are going to still fight for your freedom. And then the worst part about it is a lot of black men make women have to feel that way too. And it's like, where can we be safe? Where can we be loved? Where can we be valued? It's like we're always fighting to be seen. We're always fighting to be noticed. We're always fighting for our voices to be heard. And it seems like, sadly, like there's no end in sight until we speak on these issues and then we push these negative views, these narratives, these status quo. We have to push all of those things out of the window because it's not just black women. We got black girls that are coming that are, you know, trying to change the world. They have dreams and goals and aspirations, and we're telling them, or we're showing them with our actions how much we do value them. I'm not speaking regarding myself because I obviously value myself. I'm speaking from the society point of view that if you have a daughter, if you have a mom, if you have a sister, you should be valuing not just them, you should be valuing all black women. All black women's lives matter. They mean something to somebody. You taking them away hurts them. And it's not even just killing them. Killing, obviously, is detrimental to society and to black women. But it's even our daily interactions. You telling a woman to not share her viewpoint. You telling a woman that her viewpoint doesn't matter. You telling a woman that, you know, obviously a man's struggle is not what a woman's struggle is. And that's true, but you're telling me that my voice doesn't matter because I'm not a man. And we have to change that narrative, because if we want equality, if we want justice, if we want to be seen by society, then we need to see each other. We need We need our black men to support us the way that we support them. We need them to be rallying in the streets the way we rally in the streets for them. We need them to be on the front lines for us the way that we are on the front lines for them. And we're not asking for much. We want to be seen. We want to be heard. We want to be loved. We want equality. We want justice. We want to be protected. Nothing else outside of that should hinder that, even your ego. So, I say all that to say, protect the black woman. Because if the shoe was on the other foot, and when it is on the other foot, you're going to want her to protect you as well. Thank you guys for coming to my YouTube channel. I'll be doing this bi-weekly. Please subscribe to Tella Productions for our bi-weekly newsletter that will be around this topic of supporting and protecting black women. You can find the link below. Again, Tella Productions for the newsletter. Thank you and have a good night.